Good evening, this is Miss Jill Louise Starr, and I'm going to read Chapter 5 of the book that Darko, Trifunovic, and myself wrote, entitled Islamic Fundamentalist Global Network, Modus Operandi, Model Bosnia. Chapter 5 is entitled Back to Bosnia's Linkages to Al-Qaeda. All mujahideen allegedly claiming to be born within Bosnia have declared themselves as, quote, humanitarian workers, end quote, or holders of some form of a diplomatic passport, period. Most of them, however, were found out later to be merely plain members of extremist Islamic groups such as Al-Ghamaz, Al-Islamiyah, Hamas, GIA, Hezbollah, etc. All of their basic operational needs have been apparently covered by a network of many of these so similar like so-called Islamic charities, end quote, such as the Benevolence Intonations Foundation and the Global Relief Foundation. All of the terrorist charitable organizations primarily had at least some form of their headquarters in both the United States of America, and also some had their headquarters in other Islamic countries as well. Let me just check my camera. I want to make sure it's on, since if I'm doing the reading, and it is. Sorry. Getting back to the book here. The names of the following persons in Note 23 are those who have received money from the aforementioned charities in the form of so-called, quote, humanitarian aid, end quote, in which they later, quote, donated, end quote, to the high military command of the militant mujahideen groups located outside of America, which used the money for waging jihad. The names of the following persons, name and surname: 1. Abu Yusuf. Donation amount received $30,800. Remarks: he purchased weapons with those funds. 2. Abu al-Haris. Donation amount received by him $5,500, used for command requirements. 3. Abu al-Migvar. He received $12,000 for purchasing munitions. 4. Abu Hamza received $13,000, and he used that for command requirements. 5. Abu Yasir. He received $15,000, and he used it to purchase ammunitions. 6. The man named Abu Sanad received $500 in Rials, RIYALS, for command requirements. And 7. Abu Eyyub, EYUB, that's weight spelled, received $200, and he purchased cow and drinks with that money. And Note 23 states, all of these members of the Mujahideen operated units in Bosnia and Herzegovina. These and many other similar types of jihad warriors were supported by, like, quote, charities, end quote, which were mostly located within Northern America, and they were all involved in some terrorist activities, period. The United States has many reasons to worry. Experts in terrorism claim that the largest act of terrorism ever occurring on September 11, 2001 could never have been accomplished without at least 100 people involved in its planning beforehand, period. This clearly indicates that the Al-Qaeda network clearly located comfortably somewhere within the United States at least 100 Al-Qaeda agents, and has been for many, many years up to September 2011 had such in the United States of America. Finally, the United States, in using its own strong allies and associated connections to undertake a war against Al-Qaeda and other terrorist groups like it. This will not be an easily accomplished task, however, for the United States to undertake a war against Al-Qaeda, which it has been. Remember, this was written in 1999. You can see the outcome, and it's not been easy. Chapter 6 is entitled The Structural Characteristics characteristics of Al-Qaeda's terrorist network within the United States based on Bosnia and Herzegovina's Osama bin Laden terrorist experiences and lessons learned the United States can benefit from. 1. Structurally, the Al-Qaeda network consists of humanitarian organizations, associations, and community-based centers for Muslims living in the United States of America, many which we have just only recently heard in the news, yet me and Darko have known, and the Republic of Srpska has known and tried to share with America, although America has rejected this information since 1999. 2. Non-Muslims were often involved in the aforementioned organizations' operations, to provide the cover of multi-ethnicity to hide the Muslim and Islamic nature of these organizations. 3. In addition to the aforementioned organizations in the United States, the Al-Qaeda network also included diplomatic channels of some Islamic countries, their secret services, and United Nations missions, such as the Bosnian mission, whenever diplomatic cover was needed. It is important to remember that almost 1/3 of the countries in the world are Islamic states, and their manipulation of the World Organization represents an extremely real threat. Period. A. The Al-Qaeda network consists of the following committees. According to Jane's information, the International Policy Institute for Counterterrorism, there exist 5 main committees within the Bosnian terrorist model if it's necessary to add 2 other committees. The Financial Committee, which secures the funding for the network. It relies especially on, quote, humanitarian organizations, end quote, within the Al-Qaeda network itself. The Al-Qaeda has a legal and religious committee which justifies and covers for actions of Muslim terrorists. It is a very important part of the Al-Qaeda network, for it convinces the other Muslims they are and always the victims when they are under attack of democratic countries. It acts in its own self-defense, end quote. And the Media Committee, one of the most important committees in Al-Qaeda since the establishment of Al-Qaeda. And this committee requires and acts upon spreading misinformation on all levels against democracy. There are many other committees as well. And also, they have the Communications Committee, which ensures the coordination and flow of men, money, and information. It provides false identifications, passports, ID cards, and everything else needed in Al-Qaeda for its members to stay unnoticed. I'm going to stop here because I'm very tired, and it's almost 1 a.m. I will continue with the committees tomorrow. Thank you, stay safe, and God bless. This has been Jill Starr for the Law Project Center International, New York offices. Thank you for joining me. And please do join me tomorrow for more information.